Hello and welcome to episode 20 of our Timberborn Emberpelts hard mode playthrough here in cycle 26, day 24. Last episode we updated to update 7 with the mod and got some cool new stuff, including access to the 3D terrain, which we have yet to use, but will at some point, and also tubeways. So to go along with that, for this episode, I went ahead and got the tiny tubeway station mod, which is exclusive. Actually, I don't know if it's Emberpelts exclusive or not, but it's the same mod developer. And what this is it's just a little 1x1 with a nice little glass dome on it. Looks like 3 connections and then an entranceway. This is going to be great because it's going to allow us to put tubeways basically everywhere on top of where paths are, depending on how we want to connect stuff. So I think what would be a really smart thing for us to do would be, you see, you're like right here. We have these ladders in the center. What we could do very easily, very easily, would be to come over here and pop in a devil platform on the end, and then just go ahead and get this guy unlocked and pop him right here at the very end of our storage area. And then, of course, because this is how this is all set up, go ahead and pop in right here. Get our tubeways. Actually, that's the wrong one. There we go. Get them set up just like so. Now, I know. We just have a whole bunch of connections for no reason. This is honestly something we should probably fix at some point, but for the sake of where we are right now, I think that's probably fine. And that's going to give us direct connection to our food storage. And then, of course, these guys can just like this, sound effects included, get in there and get themselves a snack and come back out. And we can do a bunch of these little connection things all over the place, because now we have the ability to just shove these wherever we want. And I think that's pretty cool. So, lots of good comments on the last episode of different ideas for guidance as we continue moving forward. And a bunch of them about trees. I thought it was a very interesting discussions, very interesting points being brought up. But I don't think he changed my mind. I really don't think, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to make sense for us to spend the time to plant an entire separate forest of stuff that's going to give us the trees probably about the same time as the rest of these oaks would grow in anyway. So at that point, it's really not solving any problems. It just kind of doing work for the sake of doing work, which I don't really particularly think is very productive. But overall, we probably do need to plant additional trees. But considering the the efficiency or lack thereof of the differences between these, it's really not that much of a benefit long term to have anything except oak trees, unless you like the biodiversity, which is, there's an argument to be made for that. But I believe we are going to be just fine as we are now. Just have to, not try to build a ton of stuff all at once. Plus, we're going to have a surprise that's going to help us in a little bit. Somebody did leave a comment asking to check and see which trees were marked for cutting. And it does turn out that we hadn't marked these yet, which is a good thing to catch. Now, these aren't technically fully grown yet. They're getting pretty close, so it is good to catch that before it becomes a problem. Go ahead and get rid of that, even though it doesn't really matter. And yes, we are cutting down the maple trees for some emergency wood because we have the ability to. We have tons of these things, and we're not even using all of the maple syrup, so there's really no benefit to just let these sit here. It's not a permanent thing. But, you do what you can with what you got. That's what we've been saying for, I don't know, how many years have I been doing this at this point? So yeah, that's just a thing. The apple supply continues to grow a little bit. I'm not entirely sure if the amount of apple trees that we have right now is going to be a permanently adequate amount, but I am also kind of content to just cut these things down and transfer all of our apple picking over here anyway. We have the ability to fill in land here, because this is basically just well, it's not basically an irrigation thing, it is an irrigation thing. We can reclaim a lot of this, and, I think to a certain extent that's going to be something we probably need to do anyway. So let's just go ahead and say, all right, let's get this thing done. Just plant a bunch of trees here, decrease our evaporative area. I think everybody can win with that. Remember, this isn't going to be constant flow anymore. Or it hasn't been for quite some time, so that's a good problem to solve. Just bits and pieces, back and forth, so on and so forth. We have our little dance island here, and there's a bunch of stuff that you guys have been suggesting for ways to improve this. Interesting, you know, blinking artifacts going on with these campfires. I'm not really sure what that's about. It appears to have something to do with, you know, the rotation of the camera, so, I don't know what to say about that. It's just kind of distracting to see that flashing away, so maybe we won't stare at this. But a couple people posted that the, you know, the tubes can be buried, either underground or underwater, and the beavers will be fine. They won't get wet. I did get confirmation from the mod maker that for the Emberpelts specifically, the regular tubeways and then the variant of the tubeways that the Iron Teeth have that has the scaffolding, so it's allowed to go vertical or be buried under stuff, have actually been merged into a single type, which we kind of talked a little bit about last time. But that's nice to have that confirmation, and that really opens up flexibility for our tubeways here. And of course, we have the tubeway levees that we can make use of, and I really kind of would like to, but I'm not exactly sure where the best place to put something like that would be. So, I'm not going to completely disrupt this whole thing just to say, oh, we're going to put tubeway levees in, because you don't need to do something just because it's there. I don't think, at least. I don't know. Maybe you disagree. That's okay. But I've been saying for a while, last episode, that I really wanted to increase the amount of space we had for water here. And a really smart solution was proposed by a couple of you in the comments, and that is to take our dirt excavator and move it somewhere else. Specifically over here in our reservoir area. And I'm honestly kind of upset with myself that I didn't come up with that. But I'm really, really glad you guys are kind of on the ball with this. Because look at all this. Like, this is a bunch of land that we were going to get rid of anyway. And we have a bunch of power being produced over here. Technically, we're kind of right on the edge. But we have the ability to add additional engines and additional power generation stuff. Get everything all connected. And eventually support having either an additional dirt excavator or just moving the dirt excavator period point blank. Remember, this doesn't consume extract anymore. That was a big change for Update 7. So all we'd have to do, really, is just build a little scaffolding for this thing to sit on, and then let it go. Just, you know, get a whole bunch of dirt out of the way. We could move it. We could leave it in one space, let it go all the way to the bottom of the map. Because remember, this is not the bottom of the map right here. Height Shore mod, I'm not sure if it works yet or not, but we take a look at the edge of the map here. This is the bottom of the map. So this right here is one tile up from that, and then the entire reservoir is basically, I think, five or six levels above that. So if we put excavator or 2 or 3 or 4, or a bunch of them up here to try and make this a whole lot bigger all at once, then we could get a lot of volume. Not necessarily really quickly, but we could get a lot of volume in probably a surprising short amount of time. That being said, I do think we're going to do that. Along with, remember the surprise tool I said that would help us later, we're going to get rid of this. This whole industrial area does not need to exist. I know at this point in the playthrough, the job numbers are basically irrelevant because we have a bunch of bots that are also unemployed. But if these go away, not only does this take away the need for all of this mess to be here, it's going to free up some resources as well. Like, look, we got 1, 2, 3. We got 3 of these lumber mills constantly consuming logs. And then we've got these gear workshop. And these are all the large versions, by the way, in case you don't remember. These are consuming the planks. So it's just kind of this never-ending cycle. Like, we got 1,400 gears. I think we're okay. We're going to be fine without them. And the whole point of having this area here was so that we could have all of our industrial stuff for the bots in one space. But now that we have the tubeways, honestly, like, this to this is a really quick trip now. It's not, you know, going halfway across the map. So I'm just gonna go ahead, say sayonara to all this stuff, which is going to give us a large quantity of items on the ground that we can pick up, utilize to build other stuff, and then make things better just in general as we continue getting everything situated. Now, we do still have a ton of bots that are completely unemployed. That is something we need to work on fixing. But, you know, like I said, it all just kind of comes in time. And it's also possible we just have way too many bots to begin with, and we really didn't need to have all these, but, you know, it is what it is. So, let's go ahead and start making concrete steps. Well, not concrete, because the beavers don't have concrete, but you get the idea. I need to remember, first of all, that these got split in half. We need to go ahead and get situated where we can have a what do you call it over here? Yep, scientific term. Got 4,600 science. The 6x1 overhang is 3,000. And it also has a pretty substantial construction cost. But I do think that's going to be necessary for us to do what I'm envisioning here. We go ahead and pop this in. I think we're probably going to have 2 of these. Or maybe, because I don't think they can drill through these blockages, and I also, you know, can't really send beavers down there. I could send bots down there, actually. That's something somebody mentioned in the comment, is that, hey, you got a whole bunch of bots. You can just have all of your bots, all of your builders be bots, and then it doesn't matter if they get wet because they're bots. So, you know, let's actually fix that real quick before I get too ahead of myself. Builders' huts, if we make them all bots, again, we have tons of bots. Make them all bots, and then the hauling posts as well. That should eat up most of our bots. Take us from 36 extras down to, oh yeah, we got an issue here. Why does it still say 22 unemployed bots? I feel like that's there we go. Now we got 12 vacancies. What is deprioritized? Okay, hauling post. Okay, that's all taken care of. That's looking fine. Now we can go ahead and we can get this situated. Always have to remember where the ladders are. Always an issue for some reason. Because my brain is tired. But that's alright. Life goes on. Let's get this connected here. Should be no danger of any beavers accidentally getting wet. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and just... Why can I never remember what the correct... There is no... There we go. Get these things out of here because we do want to be able to drill down in the middle here. I think the easiest thing to do to start this out would be to just say, all right, let's just pop in right about this corner here. I'm going to leave this ladder in place in this spot because, well, that's where I put it. But if I put a 5 wide thing there, I'm going to put in a dirt excavator. It's not going to let me place it until all of those are gone. So that's going to be something we're going to have to kind of wait a little bit for. But yeah, this is going to go here whenever the time comes for that to, you know, actually exist. So we do need to get power over, which thankfully is going to be a pretty simple process. Just go ahead and get this brought over this way with a very simple straight power shaft. Can't do that. Can't do that. Okay, now we have to strategize. Now we got to strategize. All right, so this is going to come out that way. See, I didn't really do myself any favors with how I have this set up. Well, see, I can't attach a power shaft here without removing the path. But, you know, we can. It's not going to be pretty, but there's no rule that says the dog can't play basketball, you know? That's just going to end up being, that's the wrong one. That's just going to end up being one of those supremely ugly things that we just do because we have the ability to get it done. And I think that's going to end up being about as good as I can do here. Let's, that's the wrong one. Of course it is. Get that going there, get that going there, get that going there. And then, yeah, just let them get to it. They already removed all of this, which is good. Looking nice. Do I have the materials to build this? There we go. Power does connect at this same level here, so that's going to be a simple thing for us to take care of. Now, I can, because this does not consume anything except the resources to build, I can just go ahead and say, you know what, let's just build a bunch of these all at once. Like I said, there's no rule that says the dog can't play basketball. There's no rule that says we have to only have one of these. We can just have a whole bunch of them and just be done with it. Just build a colossal, ridiculous excavation thing and then put the dirt somewhere else, because I can think of a bunch of places that could easily go and solve a bunch of our other problems. You know, it's all about making sure the right kind of stuff gets done, and we can certainly make that happen. Let's just get these, not ladders, I guess. Well, ladders would have been fine, but stairs are also fine. So that goes there, that goes there. Look what we have space for right here. That's right, it's an underground pile. That'll hold 1,800 dirt, which, you know, we don't really have that much storage for dirt. We only have 180. So, you know, that's something that needs to go in there anyway. But now these guys can just do what they got to do, consuming large quantities of power. Well, 200 HP apiece. Certainly going to be a little bit of a draw on what we have going on now, but remember, we're going to connect all this stuff anyway, right? This is currently consuming... wait, was this not connected to anything else? Oh, that's right. I was going to put something here and I didn't do it. Well, in the interest of actually, you know, accomplishing something... Wait, does that not connect to the center of that? Oh, it does. Okay, never mind. False alarm. Let's get those built, and then we're going to have pretty much exactly enough extra power here. I can't believe I forgot about that. What a blunder. What a blunder. Wow, you know what I did? I blocked the storage for the bot limbs. Oh, come on, man. Come on. Alright. Well, I gotta fix this, so... Easiest thing for us to do is just going to be to turn that around. And then put these back in on top. Get that set up to be bot limb storage, and then they'll pick all that junk off the ground. Gonna be fine. Then they'll get that built, hopefully sooner rather than later, and we're gonna be in business, folks. Making our reservoir larger. And of course, we still have stuff over here we haven't gotten into quite yet. If you're wondering why this path isn't here, I thought I fixed this. But at the end of last episode, I encountered a very strange glitch with the game. Based on how that I transferred stuff over from Update 6 to Update 7. When normal people don't do this, and chances are probably none of you are going to run into this issue unless you're trying to do something weird like me. But to make a long story short, I migrated the save by copying the game save folder from the Timberborn folder in the My Documents, whatever, part of the computer. And I pasted it into the experimental saves, but I added a designator to it. I did whatever Beaverberg 23 or whatever series this is, .u7, which apparently Timberborn really hates when you do that, because it caused the game to crash anytime I tried to manually save it after that. So I had to, you know, have a little panic moment, like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Like, okay, well, sometimes that stuff just happens, and that's how it goes. And I had to like redo the last 10 minutes of the video in terms of construction, not the video itself. That was fine. But I had to basically rebuild this island like a bunch of times while I was trying to figure out what was going on. And then I said, oh, okay, you know what? I'll take the period out of the folder name, and then all the problems were solved. It was just weird stuff, man. But anyway, that's why this path wasn't here, because that was something I did and I kind of forgot about, and I was so worried about making sure this was here, set correctly. Anyway, nobody cares about that, most likely. I just figured I'd let you know. But we are making some very nice progress here with our dirt. It is being stored away. And we can actually talk about what we're doing with the dirt now, and that is, I want to fill in a lot of this area here with dirt, as one does, to try and create more space for growing trees, and turn this into maybe like a little moat area. And we do have 3 days. We have 3 days to get this done, so let's come out of triple speed. Let's actually pause, because I do want them to start this. And I'm going to say, lag, that I want to leave a 3-wide space, plus a little bit of buffer, you know how this goes, around the island, so that we can have basically at any point, if you go out 3 tiles from one corner, you're not going to run into anything. So that's what's going to go on here. Make sure this goes, I guess this way, maybe. I don't know, man. I thought I knew what I was doing, but yeah. A geometry major, I am not. A math wizard, I am not. Doesn't take a genius to understand that. But I think for what we're looking at now, this is probably fine. If you disagree, feel free to let me know, as always. But I figured it would be nice to have some sort of decent-looking setup for this. just moat-wise. Nice and simple. Just bring this all the way here. It doesn't have to be perfect. I would just like it to be kind of consistent. Oh, I already failed. I already failed. Because I forgot that this right here has to have that outset. There we go. That looks a lot better. I don't even remember what I was saying before. That's a great sign for my long-term mental memory there. But somehow... Aha! Nope, nope, not there. Not there. So, anyway, that's, I think, about perfect. Radial symmetry is not necessarily my forte, but that's going to get us started. And the reason I'm doing it there is because I always get tripped up by this. I want to make sure that these guys can actually build all this stuff before the bad tide, or not the bad tide, any tide comes in. If this is set up correctly, then all I've got to do is just expand out from this point. So we got a moat here. I am going to have this have like a little bit of a pass-through, so I guess what I want to do is I want to pause maybe these two right here just so everything connects, and then have some sort of a other thing filled in. Or maybe I want to have these three. I don't know. I'm just kind of, throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. Seems to be a good enough kind of thing for us to accomplish. But anyway, we can make stuff meet here, reclaim a whole bunch of land, and then maybe do something else for irrigation in this general area, plant some more trees, so on and so forth. You know what this ends up being. Totally fine. Okay, this is ready to go, which means we can plant some more apple trees. We do have the forester still here. Let's get... Can they not reach this? They can't. All right, we're going to need to give them a temporary path. There we go. And I am going to plant some additional apple trees in this area here. These are, of course, not going to be for cutting. They're going to be for harvesting, which, once that's taken care of, means we can cut these trees down, and then this can get turned into either more farmland or something else. But let's be honest, we have 28,000 food. I don't think we're really in a tremendous need of having more farmland, but you know how it goes. What's the Mythbusters analogy? If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Why can't I never remember? Okay, it's because this got grouped into a separate thing. Just put a lumberjack flag up here because we do only have a gatherer flag. Just get all these trees cut down, use the logs, do everything else we're trying to do, and move on with our lives. So now that they're doing this, we can kind of watch them put in a little bit of land here. Talk a little bit more about some of the other ideas that you guys had. We talked about moving the dirt excavator. We talked about removing the industrial area, and we're not completely finished with that. But there's a couple other suggestions that people made that I really liked. And one of those was to put the fancy paths on the island, meaning this recreational area here. I think that's cool, because we have all these, we haven't used them. Remember, we have the path with railings, which is basically just what shows up on the platforms. We have a wooden path, and then we also have these decorative floors, which unfortunately you can't, I mean, you can rotate them when you put them down, but when you put segments next to each other, they don't keep that rotation. I don't think. No, it doesn't look like... No, they do. What was I thinking of then? Was I thinking of the wooden path? I think it was. Oh, okay. Apologies. Apologies. I was thinking of the wooden path. Not the decorative floor actually allows you to do that. I misspoke. But let's go ahead and make sure that these guys have the range to get over here. That I know there's just this one little terrain block was missing. So that's what it is there. Get that taken care of. But now that this is situated, I do want to come out this way and fill in, honestly, probably the rest of this. But I don't want to get too far ahead of our little dirt thing here. So assuming that our quote-unquote flow is going to kind of meander its way through here, around here, and then down this way, I'm pretty confident. One, for irrigation purposes, this 3 wide here is going to irrigate all the way to the edge of the map. I'm not going to feel bad. No, I don't want that. Not going to feel bad about just having this completely filled in all the way to the edge of the map. and we'll deal with that as we do. But we do need to be able to get the beavers, or the builders rather. They're not even beavers at this point. We do need to be able to get them over here, and since they're all bots, we don't need to worry about having the beavers get wet. We can just send them right the way over here. Get that going all the way over there. They should be able to reach all of that, and no problem. And once we open this up, the evaporation is going to, get a little bit less. We're going to create an interesting, or at least kind of interesting, little river meander here, and gain a bunch of land that we can plant more trees on, or do other stuff too. There's a bunch of different opportunities that we've got, and we want to make sure we take advantage of those if at all possible. Things are progressing very nicely over here. Love to see that. So we're going to let them continue to do that, and then think about maybe putting in a couple more, or moving these as the time comes for that. But we've got some dynamite to explode here before we get the rest of this good water coming in after the cycle's over. Go ahead and get these gone. This one, not reachable, so I'll just go ahead and remove that. But every little bit counts. You know it, I know it, we all know it. And we've got some space here that definitely could stand to have some more terrain put in. But again, I don't want to run out before we get this all taken care of. And I also want to make sure that we've got a storage for dirt over here. So we'll go ahead and get that built, set that to obtain. And hopefully that speeds up the process a little bit. Although the bots are pretty quick. They're good at this. We've got this right in pretty close proximity to the tube-way station here. There's actually no... Wait, there's no dirt at all? Huh. Okay, these need to be automated for sure. That is probably not helping things doing that. We clean up most of this yet? Yeah, looks like we did. These smelters also don't need to be a thing. We can get that cleaned up. We got all this storage we probably should go ahead and get rid of as well when the time comes for that. But right now, yeah, see, these guys are doing the most with that. Probably could stand to put another one of these number crunchers in now that we have all this extra power being generated or not being generated, because now there's no there's no connection for this. So these guys are doing all the work. That should still be enough, I think, because this is 1,000, this is 500. I think that's probably fine. Yeah, why does this still say 0? Oh, they're not connected. They're not connected. Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert, I made a bad choice that rendered these things not actually connected. That's certainly never happened before. But let them take care of this. Get these constructed. Looks like they're already working on that. And I think that's going to help us out quite a bit to actually have all this stuff powered. So we can get, kind of a better handle on what we're doing and what we're not doing. I'll go ahead and make this a triple, because we do have the option to have the transit below here and then just path across, or by path I mean the doohickey here. Except there is a door. Why did I build this like this? This is a disaster. Anyway, point being, we have enough extra power to put in, technically, put in another number cruncher and just to have a little bit less efficiency on some of this other stuff. But for now, I think we can kind of leave this as it is. Just wanted to get that cleaned up a tiny bit. We got half a day left on this drought here, bad tide, whatever tide it is. Bad tide, yep. Yeah, they're working on this quite nicely. Get that prioritized. Should help. Yeah, but see, we're running low on dirt because we're using so much of it for this stuff. That is why we have another one of these. So I think probably power-wise don't really have quite enough to put another one of these in, but we're gonna want to. And I know I've got extra over here. I just have to figure out how to get the power run all the way across. See, I thought I had this set up in a way that was gonna make a whole lot of sense, but clearly that was incorrect. This hasn't been going at all, has it? That's right, because the mine was adjusted. I got like 800 scrap metal. I've got 1,400 metal. I think Oh, that's new. That's new. I mean, of course it's new. It changed, but bricks and extract. What's the other one? Oh, just basic by itself. Okay. Huh. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just have this do what it's going to do without consuming any materials, since that's an option, and we're also not really in dire need of having additional scrap metal. Anyway, all that to say, I really need to figure out a way to get these things hooked up, and I think based on how this is set up, it's going to end up most likely being a situation where I just have to have a thing going across here that will connect to some manner of power transmission across all this mess. I know it's ugly, but sometimes it's okay to be ugly, you know? Mom, help, he's saying gibberish again. I know, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. We'll just get this hooked up. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to work. Just has to work. So what we can do here, since we have these ladders in place, and we already know this is kind of a disaster, we'll just pop this here, go into that bit, and then pop this in here. I'm really hoping they can do this without me having to move stuff somewhere else. But that should work. Should work. And then that'll be all connected, you know, once this side's taken care of as well. Let's bring this all the way down. Put in that T here in case we want to do the same thing on the other side. And take a look at our fuel situation. It's still looking pretty good. I imagine putting in another liquid fuel engine would be a smart choice. So if I go ahead and put in 2 of these, just kind of future-proof stuff here, then what I can do is I can bring this all the way down with our platforms, and then just have this connect to the side, the end of these things here. Nice and easy. This would have been a really good time for me to also download that vertical T-intersections mod Bobbing About also made. So I guess mental note for me and actual note for you guys to remind me to do that, because that would have been really useful right about here, and we can of course come back and fix that at some other point in time. But the idea is I want to have everything power-wise connected here and have a robust amount of extra power so we can have multiples of these going, because we are certainly going to use all this dirt, let me tell you. Okay, so double platforms here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then... Okay, that's the metal platform, not the triple platform. Get that popped in there. Right, like so. That'll be still connected. And then all we've got to do here is get this situated. We can build from that. And then everything's going to be A-okay. Nice and convenient for all that. Make sure this is set to bot workers. And then get back to something else we were working on this whole time. I need to have this be open now that we're actually working on this. It looks like they've got that all taken care of. Get this demolished stuff out of here. Fill in a little bit more along the edge. And then, of course, they can start working on the rest of this. Get that situated as well. This is a slope that needs to be... Look at them. They're swarming like locusts. Get that popped in there, I guess. We'll go ahead and, you know, pop this in here. I think they might need a little bit more space there. But yeah, that's going to look really nice. I think once it's fully complete, just kind of have a moat around this. Even if it's, you know, not perfect, it does still look pretty decent, I think. It's going to give us a very nice opportunity to have less evaporation and a lot more tree growing, which I personally am definitely a fan of. Get this popped in here. Give them a another pathway, so they don't actually have to, you know, walk on it to build it, because you know that's not how that works. But very, very good progress being made here. I think we can safely leave this alone for a period of time, let them take care of that, and go about the rest of our business. We're still very, very full on water. That's looking good. Is this actually connected now? I see that rotating, so it looks like it is. Yeah, look at all that extra power, 7,000. And we are continuing to drill additional holes in here to get more capacity. As soon as this reaches the bottom, these will be moved somewhere else. But we've already increased, even though this can't leave yet, we've already increased a tremendous amount of storage space here. And we'll continue doing that as time goes on. Probably going to be a multi-episode project, but before we get too much further, I would be making a terrible mistake if we didn't address this overflow area up here. First off, these industrial piles for right now, we're not going to need. We're not going to need to have metal block storage over here unless we're expanding our sluices. But somebody did leave a comment saying, hey, you got beavers going all the way over everywhere trying to put stuff where it doesn't really need to be going. So we definitely want to take care of that, get that scrap metal out of here, get this optimized as much as possible. But one of the ideas that was presented was to have another kind of overflow channel for the bad water, or to kind of relieve the overflowing here. And there's a couple different ways we could do this. We could just put, another one right here, shuffling it off the side of the map. That honestly would probably be better than this anyway. Long term, we do want to get this cleaned up. But to avoid the sloshing, which was one of my main concerns, the easiest thing to do would just be to build the terrain higher around these and make it so that nothing could really get over here. But I don't really think long term that's the best solution. I think the better solution is just to increase the capacity of our diversion area here and give it a little bit more slush space. So we can either do that by removing some of these trees and widening this, or we can do what one of those commenters suggested and just build kind of a relief valve, if you will, in this area. Now, this space right here, all the way on this side, basically goes nowhere. So it would be a very quick diversion for us to just, pop this open just like so with some dynamite. We'll have to do a little bit of tree harvesting over here. We have all these oaks. We might as well use them just to get these out of the way. But, all of this stuff incurs a cost in labor, so on and so forth, and that's just the way it goes. So I do know that we are adding additional stuff. Yeah, that's how the word adding works, I say to myself as I slip further into insanity. But that's okay. The beavers are here. They're going to get all this stuff taken care of. We'll get these trees taken out. I actually, can probably afford to have some additional lumberjacks set in place here just to get that taken care of. So I'm going to have 5 of them working on that, and then we're going to bring this pathway all the way over here. Come on, path. Thank you. And then once this is blasted out, we can just put a sluice, and then that will alleviate a little bit of our stuff. I'll just have this set to open when a bad tide happens, or whenever contamination's above a certain amount. And that will lessen the impact of the change over here, because a lot of it will be gone off of this side before we get there. Also, were a couple comments saying that we could just adjust the contamination percentage, and yeah, that would work if we raised this to about 2, maybe 5%. But remember, I would really like to avoid putting any contaminated water in this, if at all possible, because there does come a time, as we've seen in the Apocalypse mode playthrough, where even just a tiny bit of contamination, if you're pumping clean water out of it, which we are doing here, will result in some sort of contamination concentration occurring, which is, not something that I think we should really be doing. Who's got wet fur? Well, that's not a fun sound. I can only assume that they got wet fur from coming down here, but they really shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be. I don't know why or how that was a thing. But, I guess they're just going to do what they're going to do. Alright, drought approaching. So we do want to make sure we have this fully maxed out, which it is. We probably should put another one of these underground tanks in. Let's actually take a moment here. I said, oh man, how many episodes ago was this? I said I was going to rotate this tank and I didn't do it. So, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. There's absolutely no reason for us not to have done this yet. Just pop in both of these. It's also going to give us another 2,400. Yeah, this is now priority numero uno. Get that completed. Just make some more storage for us, make it a little easier. That's going to work tremendously nicely. I'm very, very happy with that. How are we doing here in tree cutting land? Okay, they're making a huge mess, but you know, that's what they do. That's all right. Just keep an eye on this. Now, obviously, with a drought coming, this isn't as big of an issue anymore. But we definitely do want to make this available for use before the next tide comes. We just keep that in the back of our mind. Is this empty now? It is, which means that can go away. This log storage also, you know, we're not going to need this right here. Let's just get that out of there. Now, these metal blocks, I guess we can use for the sluice gates over here, and then that can go away. But if that's gone, that can get cleaned up. Yeah, it's not worth waiting over here for this. Got bots out of fuel. It is going to be important to remember that the bots do have to be fueled. And we do have some. And we're going to need to have some more lubricant. That's what it's called. Which, lingering issue of not having enough refineries. I know, shocker. We didn't talk about that at all last time. Definitely not. But that's going to require that we put in a couple more of these guys. And I think, judging how this is currently set up, maybe the best place for that to go is going to be probably right here. Honestly, just pop that right like that. They can easily access, set that to lubricant. And that should help. It's not like the most optimal location for this, but it is certainly better than nothing. We can continue expanding this if we feel so inclined. But, you know, we're just taking stuff one step at a time, doing what we can do. Now, is this at the bottom? Not quite. They're definitely getting close. I think this one might... Yeah, it's got probably one more to go. This one's got mostly two more to go. Why is this too far from a district? Okay. Okay, that's why. The stairs! The stairs are withholding progress. So, yeah, that'll be a real quick fix. Just get that popped in there. Then they'll build this, and then I can put the stairs back in. This beaver is wet. Hold on. Now, oh, you know what? I completely forgot. And I never would have known unless I clicked on them. The district center, of course. District center employs regular beavers. Not anymore. Now they're all bots. Alright, so that's a good problem to solve. I'm going to go ahead and take these terrain blocks out. We don't need those anyway. And I think we can go ahead and start filling this space in as well. We don't have a ton of dirt. So it is, you know, it is a thing that's going to take a long time. But we'll go ahead and make sure they can get at that. Give us better access here. Now, those of you who are on the wood monitoring kick here, yes, it is still a very small amount of wood available. But our giant mega building stuff has kind of cooled a little bit. We're still cutting these down, and we are going to continue planting additional trees. Going to make this into a very nice tree area when the time comes. Maybe next episode. Just want to make sure we make some sort of terraforming progress before the drought starts, because that's going to be less water to fill this space in. And of course we have all of this as well. Let's get this popped in here. That is still set to... I don't know why that was still set to beavers. It should be set to bots. Get that gun in there. Oh, we need to have a fuel storage over here. That is an easy problem to solve. Well, kind of. Just put the fuel... If I can remember what the fuel looks like. There we go. Just put that right there. Probably, you know, should have a lubricant as well. We're not producing enough lubricant, but, you know, plan for the future. Is this working nicely here? Did we already automate these? Looks like we did. Yeah, okay. Well, we still don't have anything in this underground tank, but it's the way it goes. It'll get there. We'll get everything fixed up. Now, you'll notice that by removing this industrial area here, or pretty much most of it, our numbers of gears haven't really been affected. Planks are also fine. So it was just superfluous production we didn't need as we continue moving things around. This actually probably doesn't need to be using beets to make fuel. But you know how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to just fuel from bad water. So we can stop bringing beets all over the place. And just slowly simplify our efforts. Every little bit counts. Lag. How are we doing over here? Making nice progress with all of this dirt. That's good. But I do want to make sure before we're done today that I have this area all set up, improved, so they can start planting additional trees here. That is something that I said I was going to do. Now, I know all of this isn't going to be irrigable, but it does still need to get done, so that's going to be there just fine. Apple trees continuing to grow. They're about halfway done. These trees have all been, well, except for this single tree, been cut down. I'm going to unplant all of this. Very easy. I think now this no longer needs to be here because we have this big irrigation. I'm hoping it doesn't result in any issues, but I do think it's going to be time to just remove all of this. That is a little fuel storage there, but, you know, that's fine. We can leave that in that spot. Just get these filled in. I really should blast that down. You know what? Let's do that before I forget. I feel like at this point a lot of this is just, hey, I need to do this so I don't forget about it. But the range of this should be adequate, plus this to cover everything in the middle. If it's not, then we can adjust, but I do think it's time for this mess to just go away. The scatter flag also can move. That can move. Now this is 20-day drought. Good. This is going to be something we're going to have to slowly work on fixing here. But we are going to do it. I am committed to making this suck a little bit less, as one does. But very nice progress being made here. A couple people suggested that we have a merry-go-round on the island, and I do like that idea. Reminder that this does use the old-style merry-go-round, which looks kind of funky, but I do happen to like. I think, you know, I could have planned this a little bit better with the dimensions of the island here, but that's not going to happen. So we're going to have to figure out some other place to put the merry-go-round. We got a lot of options. We got other places we can put things. Something that also was pointed out, I meant to talk about earlier, but I didn't, is the Emberpelts mod now has the ability for any connected lodges to share a single doorway, access point, whatever you want to call it. So while that was not a thing when this cluster of lodges was built, it's a thing now, and we can do some pretty crazy stuff with our logic. Hello, what's all this? Sky bridges. Oh boy. I should open this earlier. This is cool. This must be either part of the new update and I just never opened the housing things. We haven't needed more housing. Or it was part of the tiny tubeway thing. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. This is exactly what I was talking about, or was going to talk about. What I was talking about in my head, but did not say out of my mouth. There we go. Mentally stable things occurring. The point is, these lodges can now be built in really cool ways. Like, we can just, okay, well, let's just use this. This, right here, is a valid way to have everything connected. See how we just have this one doorway here, and none of the rest of these have doorways? Not only that, but check this out. Take our overhangs, and you put on something like this. You can also, now notice right here it still doesn't have a doorway, but you get that connected there, and now you have a tremendous quantity of beaver storage with one entrance. And I guess we can use these sky bridges to just connect between different things. This is super cool. And it's not necessarily brand new to the mod. We just never messed with it before. But I wanted to show you guys that and acknowledge that, yes, I do know it exists. But that's something really cool that I think we can utilize maybe over here, or maybe up here, or somewhere like that. We got options, and we're going to use them. We're not afraid to try some new stuff and see what might be pretty interesting here. But we've got some more space to plant some additional oak trees and get that situated. We know that's going to be a very long process. I think our pine resin situation is looking fine. Yeah, 368, we're not even using all of it. I'm just going to go ahead and plant some additional oak trees there. Make sure those are marked for cutting. Get these set up as well. Yeah, so that's looking good. Looking better, at the very least. And now that this is what it is, we have, look at all the space this forester affords us. And I know we're just going to keep on making it better as time goes by. But we do need to use the rest of our dirt for now to make this happen. Before we do too many more changes to this, I am going to, before we say goodbye, let's go ahead and close these sluices here, because we don't really need to have a tremendous amount of water in here. I don't want to drain our reservoir too early. We just got to do what we got to do. Keep on moving. It looks like within the next little bit, these two, maybe early next episode, these two will need to be moved. But we are making some nice progress increasing our reservoir storage here. I do want to get this whole middle area kind of moved out. This is... yeah, they're still getting these trees out of here. But that means I can get rid of this guy. This still, I guess, has one tree left to get, but that's going to be a thing. Last thing, before we are done, I keep getting distracted from this. We're going to change these paths to the fun one. One, because you guys asked. Two, because I said I was going to do it, and I didn't do it. So I will just very quickly, before these beavers catch on to what's going on, all these relevant paths here, I do want to replace with the wooden paths. So I think those look pretty cool. And we should be using stuff like this. But yeah, doesn't that look nice? And like, look in the middle where these meet. They got that little pattern inset in there. I like that a lot. Tremendously cool stuff. So we do have the option to also download the More Paths mod, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This doesn't actually work. But there's a bunch of other paths available in there, including the frog path, which I know a couple of you frog cultists out there will be extremely happy if I use again. But I think that's about the best possible place to go ahead and leave this episode. Made a lot of nice improvements with our terraforming. We're starting to kind of turn this back into, well, not back into a river. It was never a river in the first place. But turn this into a fake river thing. Make a bunch more space for tree farming. We are going to plant more trees. Don't worry, it's going to happen. But like all things, it just takes time. We're making whatever strides we can when we can. And we're getting other stuff accomplished as well. We did unlock the tiny tube-way station, and it is connected to all of our food stuff here, which is nice. And we have all sorts of options to get it connected to other places as well. In addition to moving into other areas of the map, like I said we were going to do, we just haven't quite gotten to it yet. So that's looking good. One thing I probably should mention, a friend of the channel, fellow YouTuber Disturbed Simulations, has informed me that if you only use tubeways, and you don't have any other districts, the FPS performance takes an enormous hit, and I kind of see that happening already. So, unfortunately, we might not be able to get away with having just the single district. I'm very interested to see if the performance improves substantially once I'm on the new computer. I still haven't had time to get that finished yet, but I'm hoping to have that done this weekend, and I will, of course, keep tabs on performance increases or decreases, depending on how it ends up going between this machine and the new one. Hopefully a pretty good increase, because the 9800X3D is a lot faster in single core performance and has the much larger L3 cache. So, and that's the entire reason why people are buying it, right? It's supposed to be like one of the best gaming chips ever made, with minimal effort needed to attain those speeds, and not like you're trying to put like an old i7 on like liquid nitrogen or whatever. Like, okay, yeah, we don't need to have the whole heat exchanger from a car set up in an igloo cooler like that Linus Tech Tips video from a couple years back. But I digress. We're going to leave it here. Beard Boosters, I really appreciate your support. The stability that you provide financially to the channel makes it possible for me to just focus on having fun with the game, which is what we do here, right? It's all about just enjoying the process of playing the game, enjoying the community, and helping each other out along the way, because you know we need it. You know we need it in this day and age, and I'm very grateful that we get to have a positive and supportive environment in these videos, and just keep the focus on the beavers and having a good time. So, very, very glad to be able to spend this time with you. I hope whatever you're doing with the rest of your day, you stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back in the next video. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.